Hello, and welcome to another episode of Transport Fever 2 on Very Hard Mode. I have a couple of options currently, if none of the industries close down, to make some routes and chains. The first one I'm thinking of would be utilizing these two factories here, the planks and the oil well. Since Tempe requires both fuel and tools, the planks are part of the tool chain, and obviously the oil is part of the fuel. So my first thought is we first of all need a lot of money to make that happen. The reason we need a lot of money is because this oil would have to travel by train down to this refinery, and then from this refinery another train, so that's two stations, two trains so far, would have to go all the way down here to the edge of the map. So basically, we're going from edge to edge of the map. Okay, so that's a lot of money to make all that track happen. Also, when we get over here into Lancaster, we will have to tunnel. Okay, so that's probably at least a $15 million investment when that's all said and done, just for that fuel line. So that's the first line I'm thinking of. The next line I'm thinking of is using these planks, and we would have to train from across the river these logs into the planks to make planks. And then once those planks are made, the planks would then be trained to this tools factory. And then a different train would have to take the tools back to the planks. So that means we would have to actually double track this section because we know there would be two trains on it or have some passing lanes of track. And then there's also the issue of the log train going back to the logs empty. That's a good money loser there. So, yeah, the other thing is we're going to have multiple trains to end up feeding the fuel or the oil refinery. But once that kind of infrastructure is in place, it makes it a lot easier to add on the passenger lines to because that will connect a bunch of cities for passenger lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my guess is Eugene, Providence, and Tempe would all share a passenger station right here. So that's the second thing I'm thinking of. The third thing is if those don't pan out, like we don't have enough money to make all that happen, is we end up adding a passenger line from St. Paul to Oxnard, a passenger train. Okay. And that wouldn't be too difficult because, well, we already have the stations in place. Okay. So all that would require is setting up a little bus stop by the train stations and a bus stop in the city, in both cities and both train stations, and then adding a platform to the existing train stations. So that option will always be there if my other options fall through. So we're going to start with a time lapse, and we're going to be keeping an eye on all of the industry closures in case there's something that we have to act on pretty fast. All right, enjoy the time lapse. Okay, we kind of dodged a bullet. So this sawmill is going abandoned. We just don't want this one down here to go abandoned. Another thing to note is the massive profit we have on our railroad. So this means when we're building railroads that will make us lose money, we have 1.6 million in losses that we could take before we would be in the red. So that's another good thing to have in mind when you're expanding your network. Okay, so we're going to connect up the Tempe oil line. And in order to do that, we're going to need a lot of money and some train stations and some train track. So this oil is going to be trained through the mountains here to Orlando to be converted into oil. Then the oil is going to be trained to Lancaster to be converted to fuel. And the fuel will make its way back to Tempe. Okay. Also notice that Tempe also needs tools, which is an ingredient, which the planks is an ingredient for tools. And so we're going to make a train station that will connect both of these industries. And then eventually the planks will connect to these tools down here. And we'll be able to bring tools back into Tempe. But again, to do that, we need lots of money. 7 million is not going to do. It'll barely get us the track that we need and the tunnels and all of that. So we will be taking out loans for this build. So first, train station to connect these two. We're going to want 2 tracks here at least to start out with, because we're going to have 2 trains from taking the crude oil to the oil refinery. So that's why we're starting off with 2. And we want to position our train station in a way that we can connect both industries. So preferably in between is the best. And we know we're going to go through those mountains, so I think that's a good angle to start with. Later we can reconfigure stuff, but we're just trying to get going here. Okay. Next we want to configure the train station to have extra connect points so we can reach these industries with a road. Okay, and we just want a straight row as possible, looking to connect the 2. So hopefully the oil will light up now, and it does. And hopefully we can get the planks industry to light up as well. It's an expensive road. That's okay. We got the money, and we have to have the connection. Maybe we can piece it out to have a little cheaper. Yeah, that's a lot cheaper than 100 grand, definitely. Okay, but the good news is this lights up as well. So now both industries are lit up, which means they will share this train station without having any extra trucks. All right, so now building track. Kind of want to line up through that valley, so it means a decently long tunnel through here. Okay, so let's see how we can get that tunnel going. Okay, there's a big elevation change here. And it's at a height of 48 meters, and coming out the sides 50. Okay, so that's about how long our stretch of track is going to be. So I'm going to start this track out, see what kind of high speed angle we can get going. Right, and that's about where we want to be. And I'm gonna stretch a big old piece of money. About there. Again, tunnels expensive. Oh, I don't want this giant bridge either. How much is it to take off the bridge? Oh, that's so much height. Okay, so let's think about it. Can we get this bridge lower? It's my question. So if we take out that bridge and we just tunnel, I mean, it looks nicer for sure. It's flatter for sure. And I think it's the right decision. So that we just have a long tunnel and no bridge. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and accept that. So much money. Okay. So now let's set up the Orlando station. So basically our track's going to come through this valley, and we need it to hook into, go to the right of the steel mill and kind of curve like that. So again, this will have another 2 platforms, but in this case we don't have to worry about connecting 2 industries, which is good. Okay. Yeah, we don't want it. We just kind of want to line it up that kind of with that valley. And the reason that valley is taken priority is we have a good amount of room to make a high speed turn out of here. Okay, so let's build our track to there. And again, we're kind of aiming to the left of that steel mill. It's a nice long piece of track there. It's still a little raised, but that's why it's costing us a bit more. Okay. So, gonna draw the track from that spot. And again, I don't want the bridge. And it looks like it's that little piece of road ruining our plans. So, gotta take it out for the moment. So we'll try again. No bridge. And I'm pressing the M key to lower the slope of the track. Okay. And this was on the right side, so make sure. Let me double check that so don't make any mistakes. All right, it's on the right. Okay, so we need to connect to the right side of this station. And we just did one big swoop. See if it looks okay. And this bridge is nuts. So let's see if we can take this bridge out of the way. And then if we do that, we are in collision of that road. So this overpass, which will add to our cost again, but building an overpass road is it's a little less expensive than the this long train bridge. All right, it's something. Okay. Now we want to build a little overpass to make our connection back. So we'll get that road. We'll connect it. Oh, don't necessarily have to build an overpass yet, which is excellent. Cheap, 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 cheap. All right, check mark that. All right, now that's built. We're going to have a single platform station in Lancaster. And we want to kind of angle that around Lancaster. So we have our building. We only want one station. It's going to cost around 400,000. So go ahead and take out our first bit of loan here. So green. Okay, this looks great. So there. Oh, and can't forget to connect this up. Okay, so that oil refinery should light up, and it does. Okay, back to Lancaster. All right, we'll make our connection here. The road. So that should light up, and it does. And we'll have more tunnels to make. And eventually this train will stop in Augusta to deliver fuel. Or maybe Augusta will have a local line going to it, or it could even just be trucked. But for the sake of saving some money, we're just kind of gonna take a straight shot down here and hook up there. Okay, I'm going to use the right side again. The right side. And we want a high-speed turn. That's too slow. And we basically just want to clip or go right to the side of this plank shop here. And that's a good first step. And we're out of money. Let's take out $1 million at least. I know the tunnels are going to cost around $3 million. Oh, we're borrowing. All right, so we got $1 million there. Okay, also around these fields, you see if you try to cut through a field, the price goes way up. So you don't want to cut through farm fields unless you have the money to. We're going to check the terrain heights through these mountains. And we want 40, and over here is 50, 60. Well, it does get back down to 40, so this will be a long sloped tunnel. And we'll start it kind of up there. All right, so around 3 million for that section. So let's take out, get 4 million ready to go. Okay. Again, we want to, this 54 meter here. Yeah. And look, our tunnel costs went down a little bit, which is fine by me. Okay. We'll check that. And that in. Okay, all maintaining speed. And we'll connect this to here. Maintaining speed again. And again, we don't want this bridge. So how much is it to just raise the heights of the land from 680 to 1.4? Jesus. All right. Can we lower this? In a little bit. I think that's a better solution here. That's a big climb, but we should be going at a decent speed already, so we should be able to motor up that pretty good. And then when it's coming back, it's going downhill, so that'll work out. So build there. Okay. All right, so the main track line is built. We're going to also want to have some double entry points to the stations. So we'll parallel that track up to there. Oh, it'd be expensive to make a parallel track all the way back over there. But it does get less expensive now that the tunnels and the earth has already been moved. I think we'll take this parallel track up to the steel mill. We'll connect it in down here. And we'll parallel again. We don't need the terrain heights anymore. What am I doing? Look at the beautiful scenery. All right. Okay, we'll start the parallel on kind of this flat side here. I mean, eventually this will all be double tracked once we have the money, but we just need some passing sections. And we'll get one more passing section before the tunnel and before this road intersection. And double track the rest of the way. All right. Another thing we need to have is our train depot. And have it sit on this right rail for the meantime. Okay. So next thing we need is 2 trains and a truck station that will deliver the fuel to Tempe. So truck station, we're going to build as close to Tempe as possible, and we just need it to connect to the track there. So we'll attempt to connect that in. And we can put the truck station right. See how far we can go. It's too far. And about right there. So we'll just put it in this corner here. Again, following my own advice. Make it 20 meters long. And we'll configure this to have one-way entry and exit. Have it exit out right there. Okay. And we need a road depot, and also probably connect these roads here. Very expensive. Let's make it less expensive, please. That's 45 and yeah, way cheaper than what they planned on charging us. Excellent. And truck unload. We'll unload at this intersection. It'll get all of the tools and all the fuel currently. Tempe will also need a road depot to dispatch trucks. And currently we need to buy 1 truck. We'll be cheap on this for now, because we don't have much loan we can take out left. So, we'll take the more expensive one right now. I think we'll quickly regret not having it to start out with. Okay, line from that truck stop to this truck stop is going to be called truck stop Tempe Fuel. Okay. Next, train lines. Here we go. We want a train that picks up crude oil, drops it off at refinery, loads up on oil, and takes it to fuel. And one long journey back to Tempe to drop off fuel. Okay, this line is a rail line, so R for rail. And we'll call this Tempe, also Tempe Fuel. And we want one more line that will just take crude to get refined and go empty on the way back. we want this so that our long train will stay full going back and forth. Okay, so that little line is going to be called a rail line. It'll be Tempe crude. Alrighty. We're gonna take out the rest of our loan that we can. So borrow 4 million to split between 2 trains. Okay. We want to use probably our most powerful train, 284 130. So it'll be this Baldwin class. It's cost $1 million. So we're spending 2 million already on the locomotive. Not a big deal. So we want to spend roughly 2 million on each vehicle. So we want 10 cars. Okay, and that gets us to 2 million right there. So if we double that, that would be 4 million, 4.1 million. Okay, what if we did 2.2? Let's do the math on that. Let me get my phone out. Calculator app. 2253334 times 2, 4.506. Okay, we can't do that. So we'll take one car off, and that's how we'll have to start it out. Okay, so we want 2 of those, 4.098, and just to be certain, yes, we can't get an extra bar. But hopefully we'll make some money with these. It might take a while because the journey is a long way. But let's be on this journey together. So let's set up how these lines work. So the fuel 1 manage line, we want to make sure we're full on crude before we leave the station. So full load of crude, and that'll take the crude down here. Manage line. In Orlando, we also want it to be full of oil before it leaves. That's why we have the two trains anyway. Again, the ratio here is 2 to 1 for crude to oil. So we need 2 lots of oil or 2 lots of crude for 1 oil. So that's why we need the 2 trains. Okay. Then it'll take that all the way down here, and we want to make sure again it's full before it comes back. So manage line and Lancaster, we also want to make sure you are full. Okay. Then the other line, just having crude, Tempe crude. We want to make sure you are full and Tempe before you leave. Orlando, you're coming back empty anyway. So, what we got? Oh, we also want to make sure we're using both different platforms to load. So we'll set Tempe Crude to that platform, Tempe Fuel on the other one. That means we need to push this back a little. So, beginning stages of this Tempe Crude will have to share the platform. Okay. We just need to make sure we're using a different platform down here. Tempe Crude. In Orlando, you'll use platform 2, or platform 1, yes. Okay. And we also need to check these passing lanes. So this is technically not a passing lane. It's just a entrance for the station. But this one could have ruined our day. It's not connected. And we'll make sure our signals are one way. So it's one way here. And one way here. So when you look at our lines, we'll see this right lanes going that way, left lanes going that way, one way leads. Okay, same thing on this passing line. Make sure it's connected. Hello. And signal, we'll need one here and one here. Okay, we have one more entrance into there. And I'm not sure if I want to do one-way or two-way signals. I don't know if they're necessary. They might be at some point, but I can't remember. So we want a two-way signal. We want you to stop here if someone's coming. We want you to stop here if someone's coming. And probably do the same thing here. Okay, I know that was a rough signal tutorial. But I think those are the signals we need to save money. All right, but anyway, when the trains get going, we'll switch the crude platform to over here. Just on its first journey, it'll go empty because it thinks its crude platform was going to be over here. But obviously the depot is not connected to that left track, so it would have had to go all the way to Orlando and back before it got its first crude pickup. All right. So yeah, we'll run the simulation and we'll see if we make any money. Tempe fuel will go first, hopefully. Then Tempe crude. Contestant number 1. And again, it's good that they sit in the station because they'll use less running costs. We're almost full. We got up to our 50 miles an hour real fast for our max speed. To our extra foot tunnel. See if we put it at normal speed. This is the 50 kilometers an hour normal speed. Are we fast? We go triple the speed here. Maintaining our 50 kilometers per hour. So we have a bit of a climb to get to that tunnel. So we'll see how slow we get. Don't slow down, which is excellent. It's doing excellent things. We had started on that incline though, took forever to get speed. Took forever to go uphill. We have a little bit of downhill going. I'm afraid to get out of the screen. Right. One thing I did want you to check is, let's get all these out of the way. Did I put the truck on the line? No, we need to do that. Otherwise, I don't think the fuel refinery would go. So definitely need that. All right, resume simulation. Make sure. Oh, look at our account. It's growing again. That's so good. We'll make sure we set this platform correctly. So Tempe crude at Tempe, we'll use platform 2. so they're not sharing their line there. So there it is again. And when you look here, using separate platforms, so they don't get in each other's way at the platform level. They only get in each other's ways at these contested track. So, and our guy it's making its way back there. All right, back to our journey. The fuel refinery. I'll go ahead and press H so you can hear the wind. I don't have the sound on in headphones or anything, so hopefully it comes through on the video. I'll press H again for the moment. Maintaining the 50 kilometers per hour. And look at this slope. My goodness. I've built a monstrosity here, and I am here for it. So much downhill. But hey, it was cheap. Cheaper than what the game wanted me to pay. I'm also not paying for bridge infrastructure, just tunnels. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Crested it. Oh, bear. Yeah, man, these tunnels are pretty claustrophobic. Sorry if you feel that way. I don't know how tunnels are supposed to be in the 1890s or 70s or whatever this is. Let me know if you're a tunnel expert in the comments. Oh, another bear. You made it. No bear here. So again, our account balance is still good. We'll wait till we get to our 15 or 14 fuel. Okay. But yeah, so this is all that was kind of planned for this episode. Let's go ahead and advance the time, the date speed, so we can get some new vehicles maybe. And as we're coming into the Lancaster station, making $1 million on that run, this is where we'll end episode 6. Again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.